My husband, 28 male, and I, 29 female, moved into a new house in March of 2020. Already a crazy time in the world. And I am not sure if it was the negative energy of the house, the world, or what, but we had some crazy things happen within those first few months. We brought both of our cats over to the house, and they refused to go down into the basement. One of our cats would just sit at the top of the stairs and hiss down there constantly. I couldn't get him to move or anything. It's like he was trying to warn us about something. My other cat would quickly run up the stairs, also, almost like he was running from something. My husband said it was just them getting settled in a new house. Every time I walked downstairs, I felt like someone was watching me. I would hear footsteps and lights would turn off, but I chalked it up to a new house and learned how it sounds and works. However, I woke up one morning to find all of my cat's toys/stuffed animals lined up across the doorway of our spare bedroom. I have heard of demonic presences doing similar things, so this freaked me the fuck out. Again, my husband didn't think anything of it.
What?
He said it was probably just the cats that did that, but they never move their toys in a straight line. I had nightmares occasionally before moving, but they increased drastically when we moved. I also had a significant amount of sleep paralysis where I kept waking up and walking downstairs to the basement. It finally got to be too much when I dreamed that I was locked in the basement with a killer, but I couldn't see his face, and there was blood everywhere, like overflowing, similar to that scene in The Shining. I saged the shit out of the basement and lit some good chakra candles. Found them on Amazon, LOL. It seemed to get less crazy after that, and my nightmares mostly went away. I looked up if someone had died in the house, but couldn't find anything online. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, the previous owners of the house had all these documents about the lot from back to the 1800s. Our house was, as you may have guessed, a former Native American settlement and was rebuilt into a home in the 50s, but had a historical records of different houses and properties back hundreds of years. We also did find one record saying an elderly woman had died there in like 1920, but couldn't find anything else. My husband is still skeptical of all of it, and while I didn't see anything, I could feel the energy shift in the house. I have been trying to dig in more, but can't really find anything else about the house. I still sage it frequently just in case. And if anyone else is wondering if this is real, I have pictures of both my cats freaking, the toys lined up, and the house records.
Am I wrong for saying that I don't want to plan my friend's birthday after not being invited to her wedding? Okay, so I first met my friend Jane, 29 female, studying abroad. We were really good friends during our travels, and after college we actively stayed in touch, visiting each other in our respective different cities. I met her boyfriend Bob, now husband, when they first started dating, and have met her college friends and parents. Bob and Jane decided to move to my city right before COVID, so during lockdown we were in each other's bubbles. We've celebrated each other's birthdays, we've had Friendsgiving, Christmas parties together, etc. In 2021, Bob and Jane got engaged in August, and when they came back, I threw them an engagement party. I bought her this wine glass that said, "Wedding Planning Wine Glass," and every time she used it, she would text me a photo of her with it. In 2022, I threw Bob a 30th birthday party. But then, this was also the first year I wasn't invited to her birthday party. I had texted Bob asking what the plan was, and he told me that they were going out of the state for her birthday. However, on Instagram, I saw them posting pictures of them renting a cabin with some friends, so I felt awkward. Then I wasn't invited to the bachelorette party. I didn't find this too big of a deal because Jane had some really close childhood friends and sorority friends, but then nothing about the wedding. The wedding happened this May, and it was a big wedding, like 200 people, and I wasn't invited. I was really hurt to say the least, but I didn't say anything. I just tried to move on. I haven't talked to them really since before the wedding. They didn't wish me a happy birthday, and they couldn't attend my birthday shindig because they were out of town. I'm noticing that if I don't reach out to either of them, they don't reach out to me at all. Now, Bob has reached out to me and asked me to plan Jane's birthday party because he says I'm the best at planning these things. And I told him I was hurt about not being invited, and he said, "Well, we had limited space. Don't make it a big deal. We want you to be at her birthday party." I really don't want to do it, and I don't really feel any desire to be friends with them. Am I being a petty asshole? Just to clarify about Bob's birthday party, Jane asked me to help plan it. That was the last time I've seen them in person, March 2022.
Am I the asshole for calling the C word to my future sister-in-law after she tried to gain sympathy with my miscarriage? I'm sorry if this seems all over the place. I'm just so mad that everyone is siding with her. My future sister-in-law, Ella, 30, is your typical annoying, bubbly girl. She is always happy and smiling, quote, caring and compassionate. My brother, 37 male, is foolishly in love with her, and it seems like the rest of my family is wrapped around her finger. My brother and I, 34 female, grew up very close. When we were 10 and 7 years old, our father passed away, and our mother, 69 female, struggled as a single mother until she met our stepfather, 65 male, who is truly an amazing person. They had our little brother, 28 male, who happens to be Ella's best friend, and the reason she met our older brother. 28 days ago, my husband, Mark, 34 male, and I tragically lost our pregnancy at 22 weeks. It was devastating then, and it still is. I haven't been ready to talk to my therapist about it yet. This was our first pregnancy that progressed this far, so we were filled with hope. Since the loss, I made it clear that I didn't want to talk to anyone and that I didn't want any visits. However, Ella keeps sending deliveries of food every now and then with stupid ass messages like, quote, you are cared for, and quote, we're here for you, thinking of you. It infuriates me to hear Mark commenting on how nice and thoughtful she is. Last night, she asked me if she could come over with my mom and my brothers to quickly discuss something about their wedding. She apologized, saying she knew it wasn't the right time, but the wedding is only a month away, and this conversation couldn't be delayed any longer. In essence, Ella wanted to postpone the wedding for another 6 months. It is a small affair hosted at a friend's place, and since she briefly explained the situation, the vendors are willing to change the date at a minimal cost. To paraphrase her, she said, quote, I don't feel like this is the best time to have a wedding. I really want you at my wedding party, and I suspect you won't want to be around people asking you what happened, as if she knows what I want or don't want. Of course, everyone started going off about how this is such a great idea and how sweet that was of her moving a special date for her just to accommodate me. What made me snap was what she said next. Quote, whenever you feel up to it, we could have a girl's day and get you a new dress. Mine was pink, made specifically to fit my growing bump. I screamed at her that she was a for looking for sympathy at my expense, and that I hoped my brother and everyone else could see her for the conniving and manipulative piece of work she was. That the only girl's time I wanted to have is with my beloved girl that isn't with us anymore. All of them were stunned, and she ran out crying. My brother told me to seek therapy, and my mom and little brother just left. This morning, my husband told me that while he understood and shares my grievance, I shouldn't lash out on innocent people, that she only wanted to help. So Reddit, am I the asshole? We do have a comment from the brother. He found the post. Oh my god, he made his username Victim of Evil Sister. So he goes, hey, I'm the big brother. Jesus Christ, Rachel. The next time you want to try to make yourself the victim, like you always do it on a site that I don't use almost every day. You can thank Ella for being the only reason I've even kept a relationship with you, because she has been that tolerant of your garbage. You've made it no secret that you hate her. But hey, smart of you to try and leave out how she's black, and you called her more than the C word. But I think letting everyone know the actual words you called her would not be allowed whatsoever on this sub. I'll verify for everyone here. You're a bully, a racist, and an asshole, and you always have been. And way to mention Ella's miscarriage, but not mention your own response to it, which was an eye roll and a smirk, and then make an offhanded comment about how Ella should have been more careful because you thought her working out of the house was bad for the baby. You know what's bad for a baby? A garbage person like you. Delete my number, delete mom's number, delete Ella's number. Go rot.
I just went on a first date, and honestly, I am fucking traumatized. I'm traumatized. There's a reason why I'm feeling that way. So let me fucking tell you. I matched with a lady. Let's say her name is Priyanka. You know, just for anonymity. I matched with Priyanka. And I see her profile. I'm like, wow, what a cute lady. Very beautiful. So attractive. And she sends me a message. She goes, hello. How are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm fine. Thank you very much. How are you? And she's like, I'm good too. I said, your bio made me laugh. She said, thanks. You too. Her bio said, it's either this or an arranged marriage with the emoji. So I thought it was funny. And I responded to that. So she's talking about her family. She's talking about her roots. And we both have something in common that, both of our families are from parts of India. Could you have guessed? We exchanged a few messages back and forth. And then she said, hey, you should text me. Let's get off this fucking app. And I said, say no more, lady. I will send a message to the 10-digit code that you have provided to me today. And I will message you. She said, sounds great. I look forward to it. So I text her. So we're texting for a couple of days. Things are pretty steady. I asked her to FaceTime me. We FaceTime. She was real. You must be thinking, Zogar, why do you say she's real? Why are you surprised? Because guess what? The last fucking date I went on, somebody didn't fucking look like their goddamn pictures. That's why. So I said, hey lady, we should FaceTime. And she said, okay, sounds good. She was real. While we're talking on FaceTime, she's telling me about her favorite foods. She's like, yeah, I love Indian food. I'm like, me too. What a coincidence. So then I was like, hey, let's grab Indian food. Let's do it. First date, bold move, right? Nothing can go wrong with just Indian food, right? Wrong. I plan to meet with Priyanka at 6:30 this evening. I show up 10 minutes early because I want to scope out the place, scope out the area, make sure there are no fucking serial killers around while I eat Indian food. Okay? I walk back to my car, get on TikTok to kill a few minutes of time before I'm planning to meet Priyanka for our first date. She ends up texting me saying, hey, I'm here! Exclamation point, smiley face. And then I respond, no need to yell, lady. I'm on my way. I'm right here as well. She said, okay, I'll come meet you out front of the restaurant. I said, sounds good. So I see her and she looks great. I give her a hug. I'm like, hey, so glad we got to do this. I'm Zakir. She said, hi, I'm Priyanka. So glad we got to do this too. And she said, let's go on in. I held the door open and she was walking in front of me and she said, oh, this is where our table is. So we're walking towards our table and I'm just following her. And she then uses her hand and gestures like, oh, this is our table. And I see two people that are sitting at our table. I'm like, who's sitting at our table? And there's a table of 4 here. And she's like, oh, this is my mom and my dad. And I'm like, hello, how you doing? I was not prepared for this moment in life. There was no way that she had brought her mom and dad with her on a first date. I'm like, that's it. This is my arranged marriage. I cannot hide from this moment in time. My love life expired. There is officially an end date to my dating career. What is happening? So Priyanka's dad is sitting across from me at the table. Priyanka's mom is sitting to my right. Priyanka is sitting diagonally from me. And I could already tell that Priyanka's dad, for some reason or another, does not like that I'm here. Or even he's here. And he looks at me and he says, so I see that you're interested in my daughter. And I'm like, hello, uncle. Actually, we met on Bumble and she made the first move and sent a message to me. So I think it's a little bit mutual. He said, okay, what do you do for work? And I'm like, please don't say TikTok. Please don't say TikTok. Please don't say TikTok. I tell him what I do for work. And right as I'm about to say my profession, he goes, are you a doctor? And I'm like, he caught me off guard because I wasn't expecting him to cut me off. And I said, no. He said, are you a lawyer? I said, no. He said, do you have any form of medical school degree? I said, no. He said, then what do you do? I'm like, oh my God, is this an interrogation room or a date? I wasn't even sure. So I tell him what I do for work and also mention that I do content creation on the side. And he looks at me with a very stern face, like, and I'm like, oh shit. I don't think this is going well at all. He said, can you call your parents to come join us? I said, what? Bro, I can't. I said, first, no, because they're not local. And second of all, I thought this was a fucking date with me and Priyanka. Had no idea that the parents were going to come involved and were going to arguably set up an arranged marriage on the first date. So I told him, I was like, oh, so sorry. Like, my parents are, aren't nearby and they won't be able to make it. So then he said, okay, our time here is done. Priyanka, let's go. And Priyanka gets up, her mom gets up, the dad gets up, and they all are walking out of the restaurant. I was like, what just happened? I thought it was, huh? What? So I haven't heard from Priyanka. I don't know what is happening. So I thought I'd tell TikTok, and honestly, maybe it's a sign that things weren't going to work out.
I need you to listen to this. I'm on a flight home, San Francisco to Chicago. A guy and girl get sat next to each other. They do not know each other. They are hee-hee-hawing. They're having great conversation. They are talking for about a good 2 hours. She buys herself a drink and him a drink. She goes to buy the second round. He declines. They're about a good 2 hours into this conversation when he decides to tell her that he has a girlfriend. She says, very loudly, might I add, because I am a row and a half away. Why did you wait 2 drinks in to tell me that you had a girlfriend? He responds by saying, I mean, that's kind of weird to just upfront say like, hey, I have a girlfriend. She goes, I'm over here thinking we fell in love and this is the start of our love story. The girl in the aisle in front of me starts giggling. This girl over here that's talking to the guy recruits the girl across the aisle from her and goes, isn't that messed up? He waited until I bought him 2 drinks and we were talking for 2 hours to tell me that he had a girlfriend. Miss Recruiter Girl goes, oh my gosh, why did you wait so long to tell her you had a girlfriend? The guy is now in the hot seat. Miss Girl goes, yeah, and his girlfriend is not even on his phone screensaver. Huge red flag. Girl in front of me, Miss Recruiter, is like giggling at all of this. Miss Girl goes, wait, are you guys not even Instagram official? How long have you guys even been dating? The guy says, we live together. We've been dating for 2 years. Both girls gasp. Miss Girl then repeats again, oh my gosh, and I thought this was our love story. I thought we were in love. She then tells guy and girl she is a phenomenal actress and it would be such a great idea for her to do a bit of them being married and her breaking up with him, only knowing each other for 4 hours. She then, the girl, starts doing the bit on the plane as we're descending and says, how dare you cheat on me? That was my grandmother's ring. I'm leaving you. The guy is visibly uncomfortable. There were not snakes on this plane. There was silence. If I ever seen a situation where somebody didn't know how to read a room, it was this situation. Everybody on the plane, minus the girl, but plus the guy, were all shooting each other looks like, I'm starting to realize that maybe this girl is intoxicated. She then goes to said man, is your girlfriend picking you up from the airport? He starts stumbling over his words. She goes, oh my goodness, I'm going to follow you out of the airport so I can meet her. Miss Recruiter Girl, who's sitting in front of me, realizes this is maybe not a good situation anymore. It's not a joke anymore. It's not funny. She goes, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think this is going to end well. Miss Girl goes, I was just kidding. It was all just jokes. But I really did think we were in love. At this point, the line is being blurred of what is funny, what is a joke, what is serious, what is going on. The plane has now touched the ground. The plane is taxiing. The lights turn on in the plane. The girl says, oh my gosh, now we can all see what each other looks like. It's like being in the club and the lights turn on. The guy is visibly uncomfortable. She says, oh, so what, the lights turn on and you don't know me anymore? That's what happened with the last guy when the lights turn on. Like loud, like in front of everybody. I'm hearing them. Miss Recruiter Girl is no longer in the conversation, but she is also observing. She says to the guy separately when girl is not looking, at least she doesn't know your last name. The girl overheard her and said, what are you talking about? I had to know his last name in order to get him a drink. The guy is giving her the eyes. Miss Recruiter Girl, he's like, Miss Recruiter Girl now feels bad for Guy. She starts having side conversation with the guy. The guy is like looking for a life vest. He is just like trying to hold on to this conversation with this girl so this girl won't talk to him. Miss Girl starts doing a bit again. She then brings up the girlfriend again. I cannot believe you had a girlfriend. I want to meet her. Let me see a picture of her. The guy starts ignoring her a little bit. We start to deboard the plane. Guy and girl say their goodbyes. I'm thinking it's all sunshine and rainbows. This is the end of the story. Girl reaffirms, it was just jokes. It was just jokes. We get off the plane. I'm walking extremely fast because I have somebody waiting to pick me up, right? I catch up behind Miss Recruiter Girl and her friend, and they're talking, saying, oh my gosh, I thought that it was a bit. At this point, I don't know if this is real life or not. Like, I don't know if these people know each other and they're doing a bit or what. I have no idea. She says, Miss Recruiter Girl, I thought that they were going to end this whole thing 20 minutes ago, but she just kept going. I see Miss Girl all the way up in front, extremely fast walking close to a jog. Mr. Guy is nowhere in sight. I'm like, okay, whatever. When I catch up to girl and guy, the girl had caught up to the guy, and Miss Recruiter Girl and her friend had caught up to me. They were behind me. So again, I am now sandwiched in between Miss Girl and guy and Miss Recruiter Girl and girl. She is talking to him, asking him where he's going. He's visibly like annoyed at this point. And he says, don't you need to like go get your bag or something? She just overtalks him. She's like, where are you going? Where are you going? He's like, I'm going to my car. You need to go get your bag. She says, okay, well, it was so nice meeting you. Your girlfriend's not picking you up. He's like, no, I'm going to my car. I am going to my car. They high five. He sprints to the escalator. She sees Miss Recruiter Girl and starts walking with Miss Recruiter Girl. She's like, oh my God, did you see how things ended? I think that was like so super good. Miss Recruiter Girl is just like, holy shit. I can't believe I just witnessed the start, the beginning, the climax, the middle, the end of everything. Miss Recruiter Girl's like, yeah, I think that was good. She's like, the girl, she's like, I think that we ended it like on a pretty good note. I do not know if this was a bit or real life or what. I have no idea.
I just had a man text me the most insane thing a man has ever fucking texted me. Backstory on this man, he's the one that I did the story time on YouTube about. So I never thought I would hear from this fucking man again. I was in LA, he lives in LA, whatever, all these things. He was like making plans to come see me, which you're like, wait, if you watch the story time on YouTube, you're like, wait, Livy, what? Come see you kind of thing. I was like, it was kind of like one last chance kind of thing for this man. Man was like, I'm on the way like to the beach to come see you kind of thing. Never fucking came, sent me a video of him in a fucking taco costume and was like, look at me, I'm a taco. I was like, okay, I'm just done with this man, whatever. And I've been feeling for like a while that I want to go on a men cleanse. And that's like a video I'll do tomorrow, like a whole separate thing of what the fuck a men cleanse is. Basically, I just like came to the conclusion, like I'm cutting everybody off kind of thing. I don't want contact from any men. Like these past couple of months, the things that have happened with men have been like absolutely horrible. And it's like, I know it's great content for you guys and stuff, but like I'm a fucking human being at the end of the day. Like this shit is wearing and tearing. Like I texted Nicole, I was like, I'm so comfortable being alone. I want to be alone for the rest of my life. If this is the shit I have to put up with, like I'm fucking done. So I decided to ghost this man. I have a 7 a.m. flight out of LA today, right? So this man texted me at like 6 in the morning and it was like, the last text I sent him was like, are we hanging out? And that was yesterday. And he texted me this morning like, yes, we are. So I was like, whatever, I'm on my men's cleanse. I'm just like not gonna answer him. I'm ghosting a motherfucker. I'm gonna ghost the man. This man texted me while I'm on my flight and was like, question mark, never mind. And I was like, okay, whatever, like, I'm clearly ghosting you, like, get the hint, babe. And also, like, I'm on a 7 a.m. fucking flight. Like, I was sleeping half the time. I'm in and out of fucking sleep. I'm not gonna answer you. Like, just shut up. Like, literally shut the fuck up. I land. I get another text from this man. He's like, oh, I see how it is. Like, you want to get blocked. Okay, bye. And immediately I'm like, okay, ew, like, you're literally a child. Like, I'm glad I never saw you yesterday because, like, you're literally a fucking child, babe. Like, to threaten a block like that, like, go ahead. Block me, bitch. I'm fine with the block button. I have my red receipts on and this man's like, you're reading my messages and not responding. That is some bitch shit. That man said to me, that is some bitch shit. I've never met this man. Even if I met a man, don't, like, that is just like, that is like actually really fucked up. Like that's where you just throw me. That's where I'm just like, goodbye. If there was a sign from the universe that I needed a men's cleanse, that was the fucking sign. this loser calling me a bitch is the sign that I fucking need it. I'm done. These past 6 months with these weird men have just been fucking weird, horrible. I'm done. I'm not dating. I'm not doing any of those things. I will hold myself accountable to that because, like, I'm really fucking over this.
Am I the astronaut for going to Disney with my mama and our kids when my mama didn't buy a ticket for my wife? My wife is upset with me because she doesn't think I defend her when my mother is around. We've been married for 3 years now and have 2 beautiful children. We dated 5 years prior to getting married, and my wife always said she felt like my mother didn't like her. And I can agree somewhat, but it's not her personally. My mama doesn't really care for anyone I've dated. My wife tries to get to know my mom, but I will say that my mom has avoided it at all costs. I have talked to her about this, saying she needs to get to know my wife because she isn't going anywhere, LOL. When my wife had our first child, they did have a falling out. My mother asked for the keys to my house to take a shower and change her clothes while my wife was in the hospital. When we came home, my mother had redecorated my eldest child's room and put the things we decorated with in the spare closet. My wife and I were so upset. My mother said she had good intentions and wanted it to be a surprise. She bought a new rocking chair, installed a bookshelf, and changed the overall theme of the room. She said we can still use the items we purchased and put them up, but she can be a bit overbearing sometimes. Understatement of the century, right there. I explained why it upset us and told her she needed to apologize to my wife because she was the most upset. She did, but my wife said it was half-assed. Only time healed that issue. Anyway, we have a 4-month-old son and a daughter that just turned 5 last week, and my mom stayed with us for the weekend to celebrate her birthday. As a birthday present, my mom gave our daughter a trip to Disney World. But she only purchased tickets for her, my daughter, and son, and myself. She told my wife if she wanted to come, she would have to purchase her own ticket, but could stay with us in the Airbnb she reserved for the trip. She booked the Airbnb for Thanksgiving. Literally weeks away, her reason being that the tickets were expensive. She wanted to spend time with her grandchildren and felt like we could cover her ticket. But my wife went absolutely nuts, saying she can't believe she wasn't included in the equation from the beginning, or to ask if she was okay with the kids traveling such a long distance, especially the 4-month-old, and that my mom could have reached out so they could have planned the trip together and have everything included since the trip is coming up in the next few weeks. In private, I told my mother that she was wrong and that she could have told me and I would have went ahead and purchased her ticket, but she decided to announce it as a trip with just daddy and grandma. Once my wife had an issue with it, that's when she said she could purchase her own ticket and stay in the Airbnb. My wife doesn't want any of us going at this point, but I'm trying to get her into the idea of still coming. My wife feels like I need to address it with both of them present since she feels disrespected. I told her I already handled it and I also bought her ticket. She wants to get a suite at the resort instead of staying with my mother. I told her that was out of the question since my mother bought an Airbnb big enough to fit the family. My wife is upset and thinks I'm choosing my mother's side. Am I the astronaut?
I'm a skeptic, but now I'm sold. So I'm open to ideas, explanations, / stories. Give me whatever you got, but this is crazy. So I recently started working as a 911 operator at a police department in Oklahoma. I love it. Tonight, one of my coworkers was talking to me about ghosts, and I told him I didn't really believe in them. And he said, quote, "Oh, you will."
Damn.
So later on in the night, it was about 3 a.m. The 911 phone rings. This is not a landline. It only answers and rings for 911. He says, quote, "Come get this phone." So I do. I answer the call. Immediately, I hear heavy breathing. I proceed to ask if they can hear me. Who is calling? And after 43 seconds, they hang up. He laughs and turns and points to the map. This phone number was a landline and plotted in the middle of an old base camp cemetery just outside of town. Nobody lives within 5 miles of this place. The mapping on 911 landlines is always within 5 inches of the caller. It's accurate. He then told me to redial the number. I did. The number is not available. He then proceeds to tell me this happens every night. The supervising officer came in and I asked him how long this has happened. He said every night for the last 23 years. That's how long he's been there. They used to send officers out, but it's gated and there's nobody there. He goes on to say, "This is real. I kid you not. I saw and heard this happen tonight and I'm in shock. No way a prank has gone on this long. No way a landline cord cord reaches 5 miles in length to even reach the cemetery. The call's change times tonight was at 3:07 a.m., but it ranges from midnight to 4 a.m. every single night. This is an abandoned POW burial ground. Any explanations? How crazy is that? The top comment is, as a truly skeptical person, I would say you should check the call logs from several random dates in the past to see if this number or location shows up on those logs. If not, you might have been pranked by your new coworkers.
Oh.
I thought that maybe it was an automated landline out there, but there's no landlines in the area. The newest burial is 1945, so there's no way it's underground or something. Landline on 911 means it is connected to a cable, and the calls come at variable times, so it isn't automated. Trust me, I went through every single scenario I could come up with, and I assure you, based on the officer's response, he wasn't kidding. So I checked the call history, and I kid you not, we recently got a new system. It only goes back 2 years, but every night, this address, 911 hang up every single night. And lastly, 3, the officer that came in saw the look on my face and was like, "What's up?" And my coworker goes, "She just learned about the Fort Reno calls." And he goes, "Oh, on 911?" And he said, "Yep." And the officer goes, "Yeah, every night for over 23 years. And that's not even the scariest reports we get from out there." And this is a 6'4", 350-pound man. He's huge. And he was genuinely actually mortified of that place. Like, he was not kidding.